Hello and welcome to the Cast Highlight Foundation Certificate Training. In Section 3, you will learn about portfolio configuration. This section is most relevant for users who are portfolio managers or administrators within Cast Highlight. Before we begin, let's quickly review what Cast Highlight is. Cast Highlight is an easy-to-use SaaS solution that performs objective and insightful application portfolio analysis. Enterprise IT leaders use Cast Highlight to collect and analyze data on software resiliency, cloud readiness, software composition, and private data detection in order to make smart and informed decisions about their application portfolios. Cast Highlight's application portfolio analysis is executed in 3 simple steps. Step 1. Configure the campaign and launch to key stakeholders. Step 2. Responders will answer a few survey questions and use a local agent to scan the code of the application. The code never leaves the safety of the company because only the statistical results are used. Step 3. After all the data is collected, the leadership or enterprise architecture team can use Cast Highlight's powerful analytics to analyze the data and prioritize actions. Now, back to our training session. The portfolio configuration section will cover the following key activities: create users, configure domains, declare applications, manage surveys, and manage assessment campaigns. So let's get started. You have likely received an invitation email like this one. Administrator or portfolio manager account types are needed to perform the activities we'll cover in this section. Follow the directions in the email to set up your account, then log into Cast Highlight with your new credentials. All activities we perform in this section will be under the Manage Portfolio menu. Simply hover over it to expand the menu. Click on Manage Users to begin. The first step is to create domains. Domains are conceptual groupings of applications. This can be a specific environment, business unit, or modernization project. Domains make it easier to select applications later in the campaign launch and for end users to consume the analysis results. Click the plus sign under Domains to create it. First, we'll name the domain. For this exercise, we will create 2 domains, one called Business Apps and another called IT Apps. Once your first level domains are created, you can create subdomains to further segment your portfolio. To create a subdomain, click on the plus sign next to a domain and name the domain. For this exercise, we will create 2 subdomains under IT Apps called EA and APM. Next, we will create users. Let's return to the root node by clicking on your company name. We'll click the Invite Users button. There are 4 types of users which we will cover. First, let's talk about the application contributor. The application contributor can only see specific applications that she or he is assigned to. Let's enter the user's email address. Click Invite User to add them. The user will receive a notification email. Once she or he registers, the user will be switched from invited to activated. Now, some of your users will contribute to a larger scope of applications, such as a business unit. In this case, we can use the domain contributor role to allow her or him to provide answers to all applications under a defined domain. Another user type is the results viewer. This user can see all the results within your Cast Highlight instance. but she or he will not be able to answer survey questions or submit code scan results. Now, let's declare our applications. First, let's click on the Applications tab. There are two methods to declare applications. You can either create it in the root node and later attach it to a domain, or create the application within a domain. Now, just a note here, typically each declared application is attached to a single domain. However, any given applications can be attached to several domains, providing multi-dimensional analysis. What we recommend is starting with a well-known application segmentation, like a business unit, and then start creating conceptual groupings like Cloud Ready or Outsource as you build out your application portfolio analysis practice. Let's create two applications, one called Cloud App and another called Legacy App. Click the plus sign on the Applications tab to create the first app in the root node. Now that Cloud App is created, we can attach it to the Business Apps domain by clicking on the list icon here. Type in the name of the app and select it, and attach it to the domain. And now we can see that Cloud App is attached to Business Apps. Now, let's create Legacy App under the IT Apps domain. Now, because I selected the domain before creating the app, it will be automatically attached to this domain. Apps created for a domain or attached to a domain can be removed from the domain by clicking the X button next to the app. They can also be deleted. Now you have your domains, users, and applications set up. Let's quickly recap. In the last few minutes, we talked about how to create users and invite them to Cast Highlight. We also talked about how to assign them to domains or applications. We talked about how to configure domains and making sure that they're the right scope for your analysis and assessment campaign. We also discussed how to declare applications and attach them to the proper domains. Now let's take a look at how to create and manage surveys. Surveys are an essential component for certain assessment campaigns. They allow the enterprise to properly document elements about the applications that cannot be gleaned from code scans, such as process maturity, team makeup, and business functionality. Start by selecting Manage Surveys under the Manage Portfolio menu. On the left-hand side of the window are a list of active surveys and their associated questions. Active surveys can be used in assessment campaigns right away. Cast Highlight provides 9 out-of-the-box surveys designed for general portfolio and software resiliency data collection, or with specific software use cases such as cloud readiness assessment or application links. The right-hand side of the panel contains a list of all surveys and a battery of all survey questions, standard and custom. In addition to out-of-the-box surveys, enterprises may choose to create their own surveys and/or questions. This is common for enterprises that may not have enterprise architecture or APA solutions and would like to collect information in Cast Highlight. Or there is a specific business reason, such as application modernization, that the company needs to collect data for. Let's take a look at how to create a custom survey. Click on the Create Survey button to begin. Give the survey a name and a description. Hit Save. Next, use the right-hand side to create custom questions by clicking on the Create Question button. Give the question a name, a short label, and a full description of what do you expect from the responders. And don't forget to select the type of answer that you expect. In this case, it will be a text answer. You can repeat this process to create as many questions as you need. And always remember to include a description. And select the type of answer that you expect. Now that questions are in the catalog, you can pick and choose to include them in your custom survey. First, search for the question and select the checkbox next to it. Once the checkbox is selected, a new button will pop up next to the custom survey that you created. Click this button to associate it to the survey. You can associate as many questions as you like. All of the out-of-the-box questions can be edited or cloned to create new questions. All custom questions can be edited and deleted. A quick note here, since Cast Highlight is a SaaS solution, some new out-of-the-box surveys and questions may be introduced from time to time. So check back often. Let's quickly recap. So far, we talked about how to create users, how to configure domains, and how to declare applications. And in the last few minutes, we also discussed how to manage surveys, to use the surveys that come out of the box with Cast Highlight, to create your own custom survey, and to create and associate questions to custom surveys. Now, let's take a look at how to create and launch campaigns. All preparations have now been made to start a campaign. Campaigns enable the enterprise to request information and actions from the stakeholders of the applications we want to collect data for. We can start a campaign by clicking the Manage Campaign option under the Manage Portfolio menu. Then, click the Create Campaign button. We recommend adding a prefix to the campaign with today's date, and then giving it a name. Next, indicate a reasonable due date so your responders know the deadline. And then click Next Step. Now, select whether to include a code scan or survey. To fully leverage Cast Highlight's analytics, we recommend selecting both scan and survey. However, there are times when you may want to omit one or the other. For example, when you're analyzing a pure COTS portfolio with no access to code, you would omit the code scan. You may also choose to omit the survey if this is a follow-up campaign where the survey was already completed quite recently. Select the surveys you want to include. And click Next Step. Select the domains that you want to include. We'll use the domain that we created earlier in this session. You can also select additional apps to include into the assessment. Lastly, create a custom message for the responders. It is best practice to be as detailed as possible and include some messaging that help the team get excited. The custom message is also a great opportunity for you to include relevant content such as training materials or a presentation about the project. The campaign is now ready to launch. Click the Complete button to launch it. In the Manage Campaign screen, click the Play button to start the campaign. This will trigger emails to your responders and tell them that it's time to respond. Remember, you can always come back to the Manage Campaign screen to check on the progress of your campaign. Once all the assessments are completed by your responders, the campaign will automatically stop. You can also manually stop the campaign. You can archive it or delete them. Lastly, you can use the campaign created here as a template for launching new campaigns, which is great for follow-up campaigns to your existing ones. Let's quickly recap. So far, we've talked about how to create users, configure domains, declare applications, manage surveys, and in the last few minutes, we talked about how to manage assessment campaigns. We talked about how to create a campaign, how to select domains, applications, and users that will be part of the campaign, attaching custom messages to the campaign and materials, and launching the campaign. Thanks for joining us for the CAST Highlight Foundation Certificate Training Section 3 Portfolio Configuration.